Orphan girl left on the trail, until the wealthiest cowboy adopted her. Cole Darren rode alone, the way he always did, quiet, steady, with his eyes on the horizon and his thoughts kept locked behind his ribs. The frontier planet of Red Mesa stretched wide beneath twin moons, a land of rust-colored sand, sharp rocks, and wind that could shave paint off steel. It was a hard world, but it made strong people. Cole was the wealthiest cowboy on Red Mesa. Everyone knew it. He owned the largest sky ranch, the biggest herds of gene-bred longhorn, and the best water rights for 100 miles. His cargo ships could cross 3 systems without needing a refuel stop. His ranch accounts had more zeros than most towns had citizens. But wealth did not make a man warm. Cole's ranch house sat on a ridge like a lonely fort. It had tall solar shutters, thick walls, and a porch that looked over miles of open land. Most nights, only one light burned in the windows. People said Cole liked it that way. They said his heart had turned to stone after his wife and baby died in a shuttle crash years ago. Cole never corrected them. He just kept writing. That morning he was headed toward Hollowgate Station, a trade point where settlers sold grain, fuel cells, and spare parts. Cole needed a set of new pulse fence nodes for his north pasture. The old ones kept failing when the sandstorms rolled in, and even smart fences could not think straight when lightning danced through the air. His mount was not a living horse, but it moved like one. The ranch called them iron steeds, biometal frames with soft motion joints, warm enough to sit on, strong enough to run for hours without slowing. Cole's steed, Dust, made no sound except the quiet crunch of sand. A gust of wind hit Cole's hat brim and tugged. He pressed it down and kept going. The sky darkened fast. Out here, storms came like trouble, quiet at first, then sudden and heavy. A wall of dust rose in the distance, spinning and growing. It swallowed the far hills, then the near dunes. The sun faded behind a thick brown veil. Cole clicked his tongue and turned Dust toward a line of rocks. He wanted shelter before the storm hit full force. Pulse fences and smart ranch gear were one thing, but a storm could still flip a man off a saddle if he wasn't careful. Dust moved faster, taking long strides. Cole lowered his head, watching for cracks in the ground and loose stones. Then he saw something that didn't belong: a wagon. Not the old wooden kind from Earth Stories, but a frontier cargo wagon, 6 wheels, solar panels on the roof, a small sensor mast, and a tow bar meant for a hauler or a rover. It sat half buried in sand like a shipwreck in a dry sea. Cole slowed Dust. His eyes narrowed. The wagon's side door hung open. A storage trunk lay tipped on its side, spilling cloth and cooking tins. A broken water canteen rolled against a rock. The sensor mast was snapped clean as if something had hit it hard, and beside the wagon, close to the ground, sat a child. At first, Cole thought it was a bundle of cloth. Then the storm wind lifted the child's hair and Cole saw a small face, dusty and pale against the red land. A girl, maybe 8 or 9 years old, thin, barely moving. Cole's breath caught. The world seemed to narrow to that one spot. He guided Dust closer and stopped a few feet away. The storm was getting nearer. He could already taste sand on his tongue. "Hey," Cole called, keeping his voice low so he wouldn't scare her. "Kid." The girl didn't look up. Cole slid down from Dust and took a step forward. "Where's your people?" Still nothing. He crouched slowly, careful, like he might spook a wild animal. The girl's hands were wrapped around a small metal pendant. It looked old, smooth, worn, with a thin chain looped around her neck. Her fingers held it like it was the only thing anchoring her to the world. Her lips were cracked. Her cheeks were streaked with dried tears and dust. She stared past Cole, past the wagon, as if her eyes were stuck on something only she could see. Cole tried again. "Can you hear me?" The girl blinked once. That blink, small and slow, told Cole she was alive, but barely. He pulled a water pouch from his saddle bag and held it out. "Here, drink a little." The girl's eyes flicked to the pouch. Her throat moved like she was swallowing air. Cole opened the cap and held it close. "Just a sip." Her hand lifted, shaky. She took the pouch with both hands, then drank, too fast at first. Cole steadied it. "Easy." Slow, after a few swallows, she coughed, then tried again. When she stopped, she kept holding the pouch like she feared it might disappear. Cole glanced at the wagon and the tracks around it. No fresh prints except the girl's. No rover marks leading away. No bodies either, thank God, but no adults. "Where did they go?" Cole asked, more to himself than her. The storm was almost on them now. Wind whipped sand around Cole's boots. The air filled with grit. Cole stood and scanned the land. In the distance, nothing but shifting brown haze and rock shadows. He looked back at the girl. "We can't stay here," he said. "Storm's coming." The girl didn't answer. Cole made a decision. He reached for his comm device, but the storm interference made it crackle. No clear signal. Out here, the dust could swallow transmissions. Cole turned to dust and tapped a panel on the steed's neck. A small storage compartment opened. Inside was a thermal blanket and a compact storm hood. He crouched again, draped the blanket around the girl's shoulders, then placed the hood over her head. "Come on, kid, you can ride with me." The girl tightened her grip on the pendant and shook her head once, small and stubborn. Cole sighed. "You want to die out here." That got a reaction. Her eyes lifted just enough to meet his for a moment. They were dark and wide, with fear sitting deep inside them like a stone at the bottom of a well. Cole softened his tone. "I'm not going to hurt you. My name is Cole. I run a ranch. I'll get you somewhere safe." The girl swallowed, her lips moved. A whisper slipped out so quiet Cole almost missed it. "Don't take it." Cole's gaze dropped to the pendant. "This?" he asked. She nodded quickly, then hugged it closer. Cole raised his hands. "I'm not after it," he promised. "Keep it." The storm hit like a hammer. Wind slammed into the wagon. Sand flew sideways. The world turned into a roaring brown blur. Cole's eyes stung even under his hat brim. He didn't have time. Cole scooped the girl up, light as a sack of grain, too light. She made a small sound of protest but didn't fight hard. Maybe she didn't have the strength. He lifted her onto Dust's saddle in front of him, then swung up behind her. He wrapped one arm around her to hold her steady and guided Dust toward the rocks. Dust moved with purpose, pushing into the wind. The girl pressed back into Cole's chest, trembling. They reached the rocky line and ducked behind it. Cole kept Dust angled to block the worst of the wind. Sand blasted over the rock like water over a dam. Cole pulled his scarf up over his face and adjusted the girl's hood. "Stay close," he said into her ear. "We'll wait it out a minute, then head for my ranch. It's got shelter." The girl didn't answer, but she didn't pull away. Minutes passed in loud, gritty darkness. Cole's mind worked fast. An abandoned wagon on a trade route meant trouble. Bandits, a crash, a lost caravan, any of it was possible. But the fact that only the girl remained, that bothered him. When the wind eased slightly, Cole guided Dust out from behind the rocks. Visibility was still poor, but he knew the land. He had ridden these routes for years. He turned toward home. As they rode, Cole felt the girl's small breaths through his coat. She smelled like dust and sun and something else, cold fear. "What's your name?" he asked. The girl hesitated. Then quietly, "Leah," Cole nodded. "All right, Leah, you're safe with me now." They rode for almost an hour. The storm followed them like a hungry thing, but it began to thin. The sky lightened from brown to dull orange. The outline of Cole's ranch ridge appeared ahead. The ranch came into view like a fortress against the wild. Tall fences made of pulse wire surrounded wide pastures. Sentinel towers stood at the corners, their sensors rotating slow and steady. Automated drones hovered near the barns, checking on cattle and machinery. Cole guided Dust through the main gate. The fence recognized his ID and opened with a soft hum. Workers spotted him and hurried over. Men and women in dust coats, some human, some with frontier gene tweaks, taller frames, tougher skin, eyes built for harsh sunlight. One of them, an older ranch hand named Rook, squinted. "Boss, you riding in this storm for fun now?" Cole swung down and carefully lifted Leah off the saddle. She stood unsteady on the ground, clutching her pendant. Rook's smile faded. "Who's that?" "A kid," Cole said simply. "Found her on the trail, alone." Another worker, Me, stepped closer, her eyes softening. "Poor thing," Me crouched to Leah's level. "Hey, sweetheart, you hungry?" Leah took a step back and bumped into Cole's leg. Cole felt that like a small punch to the chest. He placed a steady hand on her shoulder. "She'll eat inside," he said, "and she'll have a room." Rook looked confused. "Boss, you sure folks'll talk?" "Let them," Cole replied. He led Leah toward the ranch house. Each step felt strange, like he was bringing a piece of the outside world into a place that had been silent too long. Inside, the house smelled of clean wood and old memories. Cole guided her to the kitchen. He poured warm broth into a bowl and set bread beside it. Leah stared at the food like it was a trap. Cole sat across from her, not too close. "No tricks," he said. "Just eat." After a long pause, Leah picked up the spoon and began to eat, slow and careful. Her shoulders lowered a little with each bite. Cole watched her, trying not to show what he felt. His chest was tight. His mind kept flashing to the past, small hands, a baby cry, a woman's laugh that was gone now. He pushed the memories away. Me brought clean clothes and a towel. "There's a bath ready," she told Leah gently. Leah looked at Cole as if asking permission. Cole nodded. "Go with me, you're safe." Leah stood and followed me down the hall. Cole remained at the table, staring at the empty bowl. Rook stepped in, leaning against the doorway. "Boss, what are you gonna do with her?" Cole looked toward the hallway where the girl disappeared. His voice came out steady, but his eyes were different. "I'm gonna keep her alive," he said. "That's what." Outside, the storm faded, but another kind of trouble drifted in on quiet wings. High above Red Mesa, beyond what eyes could see from the ground, a small ship glided through the upper air. It was sleek and dark, not a ranch drone, not a trade shuttle. It paused over Cole's land. A hidden scanner beam swept across the ranch like a cold finger searching. Inside the house, Leah stepped into warm water, still holding her pendant above the surface like it was a sacred thing. And far above, unseen eyes found what they were looking for. The scanner's light blinked once. Then the ship turned, as if sending a message to someone waiting in the dark between stars. Morning light spread across the ranch slowly, painting the land gold and soft red. The storm from the night before had washed the sky clean, leaving the air fresh and cool. Long shadows stretched across the fields where robotic cattle grazed calmly behind pulse fences. Inside the ranch house, Leah woke slowly. For a moment she did not move. She lay still under warm blankets, staring at the wooden ceiling above her. The room smelled different from the desert, clean, safe, quiet. It felt unreal. Her fingers moved quickly to her neck. The pendant was still there. Only then did she breathe normally. She sat up slowly. Clean clothes rested on a chair beside the bed. The bath from the night before had washed away most of the dust, but not the memories. Images of the empty trail, the broken wagon, and the silence returned for a moment. Leah pushed them away. She heard footsteps outside the room and voices from the kitchen. One voice was deep and calm. She recognized it immediately. Cole. She stepped out carefully, walking down the hall with small, quiet steps. Cole stood at the kitchen counter, pouring coffee into a metal mug. His posture was relaxed, but his eyes looked tired. He noticed her instantly. "You sleep all right?" he asked. Leah nodded once. Me smiled from the stove. "Good morning, sweetheart. I made some eggs and bread." Leah hesitated at the doorway. Cole pulled out a chair gently. "You don't have to stand there. Sit." She walked slowly toward the table and sat down, keeping her eyes lowered. The ranch felt too big, too open, but something about Cole's calm presence made it easier to breathe. Me placed a plate in front of her. Leah stared at the food. Hunger won quickly. She began eating, careful but faster than before. Cole watched quietly. He didn't ask too many questions. He knew pushing too hard could break fragile trust. After a while, he spoke again. "We've got a lot of land here, animals, machines, people. You don't have to do anything today, just look around if you want." Leah glanced up at him. "Okay," she whispered. Outside, the ranch moved like a living machine. Workers repaired storm damage. Drones checked fence lines. Mechanical horses stood charging near the barn. Cole guided Leah outside after breakfast. The sunlight made her squint. The wide open land stretched in every direction. She had never seen so much space. Dust, Cole's iron steed, stood near the gate. Its eyes glowed softly as it recognized him. Leah stepped closer, curious. "It won't bite," Cole said with a small smile. She reached out slowly and touched the metal neck. It felt warm. Dust made a soft, humming sound. Leah's eyes widened slightly, the first sign of wonder since Cole had met her. "Likes you," Cole said. They walked through the ranch slowly. Workers greeted Cole with respect and curiosity, but they kept their distance from the girl. Some nodded gently at her. Others watched carefully, unsure. Leah stayed close to Cole, never more than a few steps away. They stopped near a broken fence node that had been damaged during the storm. Sparks flickered inside the panel. Cole knelt beside it. "Storm fried the circuits," he muttered. Before he could reach for tools, Leah stepped forward. She crouched beside the machine and tilted her head. Her fingers moved across the panel with surprising confidence. Cole blinked. "You know what you're doing?" She didn't answer. Her hands moved quickly, adjusting a small wire and resetting a hidden switch. The sparks stopped. The fence hummed back to life. Cole stared. "That was fast," he said. Leah shrugged slightly like it wasn't important. "You learned that somewhere?" he asked gently. She hesitated, then shook her head. Cole didn't push further, but something in his mind shifted. The day passed slowly. Leah watched workers train animals, repair drones, and guide cargo rovers. She said little but observed everything closely. By afternoon, she followed Cole to the barn where young calves rested. One small robotic calf struggled to stand, its legs glitching. Before anyone could fix it, Leah walked over and pressed two hidden panels under its frame. The calf stood steady. Rook whistled softly. "Kid's got magic hands." Cole folded his arms, thoughtful. Later, as the sun began to set, Leah sat on the porch steps beside Cole. The sky turned orange and purple as twin moons rose slowly. "Pretty," she said quietly. Cole nodded. "Best view on the planet." Silence settled between them, comfortable this time. After a while she asked, "I can stay?" The question hit him deeper than he expected. "For now," he said gently, "you're safe here." She looked down at her hands. "I don't want to go back," she whispered. Cole's jaw tightened. "Nobody's taking you anywhere without your say." Inside the house, the evening passed quietly. Leah ate dinner with the workers. Some laughed, some told stories. Slowly, the ranch began to feel less like a strange place and more like a home. But far above, unseen by anyone on the ground, the small dark ship returned. Its scanners moved silently, focused and precise. Inside the ranch house, Leah sat alone for a moment, holding her pendant. Without warning, the metal surface glowed faintly. A tiny projection flickered into life, a hidden message activating. Symbols moved across the air, too fast to understand. Leah's eyes widened with fear. She closed her hand around the pendant quickly, stopping the projection. Outside, Cole stood on the porch, sensing something wrong without knowing why. Years on the frontier had sharpened his instincts. The ranch lights flickered once. Rook stepped outside, looking at the sky. "Boss, you expecting visitors?" Cole followed his gaze. A distant shape moved across the stars, too smooth, too silent to be a normal trader ship. Cole's hand rested near his belt. "Looks like trouble," he said quietly. Inside, Leah sat frozen, holding the pendant tightly. She knew they had found her. And for the first time since arriving at the ranch, fear returned stronger than before. The ranch felt different that night. Usually, evenings were quiet. The wind moved softly through the fences, robotic cattle walked slowly under the stars, and the workers relaxed after long hours. But now tension hung in the air like a coming storm. Cole stood on the porch, watching the sky. The small dark ship moved slowly above the ranch, just beyond normal sight. It didn't flash signals. It didn't request permission to land. It simply waited. And that made Cole uneasy. Rook stepped beside him. "That ain't no trader ship," he muttered. Cole nodded once. "No." Inside the house, Leah sat at the table holding her pendant tightly. Me sat nearby, pretending to clean dishes but actually watching the girl carefully. "You all right?" Me asked gently. Leah didn't answer right away. "They came," she whispered finally. Me frowned slightly. "Who?" Leah's eyes filled with worry. "The ones who want me." Outside, Cole's comm device beeped sharply. An incoming signal. Cole accepted the call. A holographic figure appeared in front of him, tall, dressed in clean, dark clothing that looked too expensive for the frontier. Behind the figure stood a sleek metallic hallway, clearly from a high-class ship. "Mr. Cole Darren," the stranger said calmly, "we believe you have something that belongs to us." Cole's face stayed calm. "I don't recall stealing anything." "The girl," the man replied. "Her name is Leah. She is under corporate guardianship. You will return her immediately." Cole's jaw tightened slightly. "She's a child, not cargo." "She is valuable," the man corrected coldly. "Her presence on your ranch is unauthorized." Cole crossed his arms. "You got papers." "They will be provided upon retrieval," the man said. Cole gave a small, dry smile. "That ain't how things work here." The hologram's expression hardened. "You misunderstand the situation. We are offering a polite request before further action becomes necessary." Cole leaned closer. "And I'm politely saying no." The signal cut instantly. Rook exhaled slowly. "Boss, this looks bad." Cole watched the sky again. "Yeah," he said quietly, "it does." Inside, Leah stepped onto the porch. Cole turned toward her. The fear in her eyes told him more than any words. "They won't stop," she said softly. Cole crouched to her level. "Tell me the truth," he said gently. "Who are they?" Leah hesitated. Her fingers trembled around the pendant. "They say I belong to them," she whispered. "They say I have to go back to learn to work forever." Cole's expression darkened. "You ran away," she nodded slowly. "They train children. They use us to fix machines, to control systems. They say it's important, but it feels like being trapped." Cole felt anger rise inside him, but he kept his voice calm. Nobody owns you, he said firmly. She looked at him, searching his face as if testing whether he truly believed that. You promise? She asked. Cole nodded once. Yeah, I promise. The next morning, the ranch moved into quiet preparation. Cole didn't believe in fighting without thinking. Instead, he studied the land. He walked the fence lines, checked security drones, and spoke with neighboring ranchers through encrypted channels. The frontier had rules. People helped each other. Rook adjusted the pulse fence frequency to block outside scanners. Me prepared emergency supplies. Even the younger workers stood ready, determined to protect their home. Leah watched everything carefully. She didn't hide anymore. Instead, she helped. When a drone's navigation system failed, she repaired it within minutes. When a communication tower lost signal, she adjusted hidden settings no one else knew existed. Cole noticed. You understand tech better than most engineers, he said one afternoon. Leah shrugged slightly. They trained me. There was sadness in her voice. Cole sat beside her on the porch later that day. You ain't just a runaway kid, he said gently. You're important to them. She nodded. They say my mind works different, she said quietly. I see patterns fast. Cole smiled faintly. Sounds like a gift, she shook her head. It feels like a cage. Cole looked toward the horizon. Out here, he said slowly, a gift ain't a cage unless someone locks the door. Her eyes lifted toward him. Evening arrived again. This time the ship descended. It hovered just beyond the ranch boundary, sleek and silent, casting a long shadow across the sand. 3 smaller craft landed nearby. Figures stepped out, dressed in clean uniforms, carrying devices rather than weapons. Cole walked forward to meet them, hat low over his eyes. Leah stood behind him, holding his coat. The leader spoke first. Mr. Darren, last chance, return the girl peacefully. Cole shook his head. She's staying. You cannot make that decision. Cole glanced back at Leah. She can. The leader's eyes narrowed. Leah, you are required to come with us. Silence filled the air. Leah's hands shook, but she stepped forward. No, she said softly. The word sounded small but strong. The leader frowned. You don't understand your future. I understand enough, she replied. Cole felt pride rise in his chest. The corporate agents exchanged looks. Very well, the leader said. You leave us no choice. Instead of attacking, they activated a legal broadcast, projecting official documents into the air, claiming guardianship rights and corporate authority. Cole studied the holograms. Fancy paperwork, he said calmly. But frontier law says guardianship requires consent of the child once they reach a certain age. The leader hesitated slightly. Cole had done his homework. The standoff lasted long minutes. Finally, the agents stepped back toward their craft. This is not over, the leader warned. Cole nodded. Didn't expect it to be. The ships lifted into the sky again. As they disappeared, the ranch workers slowly relaxed. Leah stood beside Cole, breathing hard. You were brave, he said quietly. She looked up at him. I was scared. Brave don't mean not scared, he said. The sunset painted the land gold again. For the first time since arriving, Leah smiled, small but real. But high above, the larger ship remained, waiting patiently. And everyone knew the next move would be bigger. The next morning, the ranch woke to quiet tension. The sun rose slowly over Red Mesa, painting the desert in soft gold. Birds of prey circled high above, scanning the land, while the twin moons faded faintly into daylight. Dust lay on fences and the ground, glittering like tiny sparks from the storm the night before. Everything seemed calm, but Cole knew it was only the calm before the storm. Leah stood on the porch, holding her pendant tightly. She watched the horizon, her small shoulders tense. The ships that had hovered the night before might return, and she had no idea what they would do. Cole approached quietly, his boots crunching softly on the sand. Morning, he said. His voice was low, calm, and steady, just like always. Sleep well. Leah shook her head slightly, biting her lip. I dreamed about them, the people who said I belonged to them. Cole crouched in front of her. I know, he said. I can't promise they won't try again, but I can promise I'll stand with you always. Her eyes filled with a mixture of fear and hope. She wanted to believe him, but she had been let down before. You really mean that? She whispered. Cole nodded, straightening up. I do. Now let's get to work. The day won't wait for us. Together, they walked toward the ranch house. Inside, the workers were already preparing supplies. Rook checked the fence lines again, ensuring the pulse nodes were working perfectly. Me sorted tools and emergency rations, watching Leah carefully. Everyone knew today could be difficult, and they all stayed alert. Cole led Leah to the barn. I want you to help me today, he said, not because you have to, but because you're important to how this ranch runs. Leah looked at him in surprise. Me, I. Yes, you, Cole said firmly. You've got skills and you're part of this place now. Everyone else here protects the ranch. Today you're learning to protect yourself too. She swallowed, nervously following him. Dust, the iron steed, watched them, humming softly. For hours they worked together. Leah learned to check fence signals, read the automated herds movement, and repair a broken drone. Cole showed her the secret routes around the ranch, hidden paths between hills, rock ridges where they could hide if necessary, and vantage points that gave them a view of everything in the distance. By afternoon, Leah had started to relax. She even laughed when one of the smaller mechanical calves accidentally stumbled over its own legs and rolled onto a pile of hay. Cole smiled quietly at her. That sound, the first real laugh he had heard from her, felt like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. Just as the sky began to darken with approaching evening, the horizon shifted. The sleek ships returned. This time there were more of them. 4 ships hovered low, casting shadows across the desert floor. Figures in dark uniforms stepped onto the ground, scanning the ranch. Their voices were calm but authoritative as they called out, "Cole Darren, we come for the girl. Surrender her now." Cole stepped forward, standing tall. Leah stayed close behind him, gripping his coat. He let his calm voice carry across the open field. "She's not yours. She never was. You have no claim here." The leader of the group, a tall figure with a sharp stare, raised a small device that projected official-looking holographic papers into the air. "We have legal authority," the figure said. "She is to be returned immediately. Resistance will be met with action." Cole studied the holograms. His mind ran quickly, calculating options. The legal papers, the devices, the ships, nothing they had would matter if the people here refused to help. And the frontier had always been about alliances, not fear. He glanced at the nearby ranchers, all of whom had begun to form a perimeter, ready to assist. He looked at Leah, standing beside him, her eyes wide but determined. Cole raised his hands slowly. "I'm not going to fight with guns," he said firmly. "Not today. But you won't take her, not from me and not from this ranch." The agents hesitated. Cole took that moment to step closer to Leah. "Listen, Leah," he said quietly. "I'm not leaving you alone with them. We're going to do this smart together." Leah swallowed hard. "Together." Cole nodded. "Always." Then, using the secret paths he had taught her, they led Leah behind a ridge. The agents tried to follow, but Cole had anticipated them. He used clever misdirection with drones, activating false heat signals and movement patterns across the property. The agents were thrown off balance. While the confusion continued, Cole and Leah moved through hidden passages to a secure room in the ranch house. Leah looked around. This room had high walls, reinforced doors, and all the supplies they might need if the agents tried anything more aggressive. Cole knelt beside her. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded, her voice shaky. "I think so. I want to stay." Cole smiled softly. "Good, you stay. And I stay with you. That's how this works." Outside, the agents regrouped. Cole watched them from the window. Then calmly he called on his alliances. Neighboring ranchers arrived, armed only with authority and witness support, not weapons. They documented everything, the presence of the agents, their demands, and Cole's refusal to hand over the child. The agents realized the frontier law worked against them. Without proof that Leah agreed to go, they had no leverage. Slowly they retreated, boarding their ships and rising into the sky. When the ships disappeared beyond the horizon, Cole turned to Leah. "You see, you're safe for now." Leah smiled faintly, relief washing over her. "Thank you, Pa," she whispered. Cole's chest tightened. "Pa," he asked softly. She nodded. "I want to call you that if I can." Cole felt something he hadn't felt in years, warmth spreading through his chest. He knelt and rested a hand on her shoulder. "You can call me that, always." That evening, the ranch gathered together. They celebrated quietly, not with loud music, but with shared meals, laughter, and quiet smiles. Leah laughed freely now, the sound ringing clearly across the ranch yard. Cole watched her, feeling a sense of completion he hadn't known he was missing. Later, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the sky turned soft shades of purple and pink, Cole led Leah outside. The wind carried a calm whisper across the desert. They rode dust together, Cole guiding her gently at first, letting her feel the freedom of the open plains. She leaned into him, her small hand resting lightly on his arm. "Do you like it?" Cole asked. Leah's eyes sparkled. "Yes, it's amazing," Cole smiled. This ranch, this land, it's yours now too. You helped protect it today. That's enough to call it yours. For the first time, Leah felt a place in the world where she belonged, not just a hiding spot or temporary shelter. A home, a family. As night fell, Cole and Leah returned to the ranch house. Stars shone bright above Red Mesa, distant planets glowing faintly in the sky. Cole looked down at Leah, who was tired but content. "Time for bed," he said softly. She nodded and climbed the stairs, holding the pendant close to her chest. Cole watched her disappear into her room, closing the door gently behind her. For Cole, the quiet house felt fuller than it had in years. The warmth of family, unexpected and sudden, wrapped around him. He had wealth, yes, but this, the bond with Leah, was worth more than any ranch, any herd, or any credits in the galaxy. Later, as Cole stood on the porch alone, gazing at the stars, he whispered softly, almost to himself, "You're mine to protect, always." Somewhere far above, the larger ship that had been watching finally moved on. Whatever power had been interested in Leah, they had been reminded that the frontier had rules. That here a child's choice mattered, and the ranch, safe under Cole's watchful eyes, became not just a place of work or survival, but a true home. The orphan girl had found a father. The lonely cowboy had found a daughter, and together they faced the endless horizon, ready for whatever adventure the frontier might bring next. For the first time in a long while, Cole smiled fully. Leah laughed in the next room, the sound echoing softly across the ranch. And in that quiet moment, Red Mesa felt whole again. The night was calm. The twin moons glowed softly, and the frontier, vast, untamed, and full of possibility, stretched endlessly before them. Cole wrapped his coat around himself and watched over the ranch, knowing that whatever came next, they would face it together. A new kind of family had been made, and nothing could take that away.